Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Ravanachari Jamuna Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Alors
43 à 46.
En fait, la semaine d'avant, ce que vous n'avez pas fait, c'était 38, donc je pense qu'il faut reprendre.
Oh, ok.
43, c'est celui d'aujourd'hui, mais en fait, on n'a pas fait le 38.
Ok.
Is it going to be in French?
I will make it understandable for you.
Sinon, je peux faire. I can do translation.
No, it's okay. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
So, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Chapter 2, Text 38 Got it? On your phones?
Lila? Yes. Lila 2:13.
Nara Shabde Kahi Sarva Jivera Nichaya
Nara Shabde Kahi Sarva Jivera Nichaya
Ayana Shabde Te Kahi Tahara Asraya
Ayana Shabde Te Kahi Tahara Ashraya
Nara Shabde Kahi Sarva Jivera Nichaya
Nara Shabde Kahi Sarva Jivera Nichaya
Ayana Shabde Te Kahi Tahara Ashraya
Ayana Shabde Te Kahi Tahara Ashraya
Nara Shabde Kahi Sarva Jivera Nichaya
Nara Shabde Kahi Sarva Jivera Nichaya
Ayana Shabdete Kahitahara Ashraya.
Ayana Shabdete Kahitahara Ashraya.
Nara Shabde Kahe Sarva Jivera Nichaya.
Nara Shabdika He Sarva Jivera Nichaya.
Ayana Shabde Kahitahara Ashraya.
Ayana Shabdete Kahitahara Ashraya.
Nara Shabde Kahe Sarva Jivera Nichaya.
Nara Shabdika He Sarva Jivera Nichaya.
Ayana Shabdete Kahitahara Ashraya.
Ayana Shabdete Kahitahara Ashraya.
Nara Shabde Kaha Sarva Jivera Nichaya.
Nara Shabdika He Sarva Jivera Nichaya.
Ayana Shabde Kahitahara Ashraya.
Ayana Shabdete Kahitahara Ashraya. Ladies, no? Nara Shabde,
Nara Shabde,
by the word.
by the word.
Nara,
Nara,
no, sorry, by the word Nara.
by the word Nara.
Kahi,
Kahe,
one means.
one means.
Sarvajivera,
Sarva Jivera,
of all living entities.
of all living entities.
Nichaya,
Nichaya,
the assemblage.
the assemblage.
Ayana Shabdete,
Ayana Shabdete,
by the word.
Ayana.
Ayana, you're right. Kahi,
Kahe,
one means.
one means.
That is to say, this is a noun. One means, not that one person means something. Means, un moyen. En français. One means to do something, there's another means to do something. Like that. Tahara,
Tahara,
of them.
of them.
Ashraya,
Ashraya,
the refuge.
the refuge.
The word Nara refers to the aggregate of all living beings. And the word Ayana refers to the refuge of them all. So what is the meaning of these words together?
I can't remember what aggregate means.
Narayan. Who is Narayan? Krishna. So this is the explanation. You speak English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just speak English for his sake.
I'm sorry. I felt guilty now.
No. I think everybody understands English. I mean, some people may feel that it's important to have a French class, but if it is not the case, I will speak in English. This is an explanation of the word Narayan, Nara, Ayan.
It refers to the verse 1, 2, 30. Rayana Swamai Savadeya. Explain what is the meaning of Narayana.
In the first chapter in this book.
Yeah.
So Narayan is the place where all living entities have their refuge, ultimate refuge. That's the literal meaning of Narayan. Nara is all the living beings. It's like also human beings sometimes, like Narasimha, half man, half lion. So here it just refers to all the living entities, not particularly human beings, but all living beings. So next verse. Ataiva tumi hau mula narayana ei eka hetu shuna vitya karana. You are therefore the original Narayan. This is one reason. Please listen as I state the second. Jivera Ishvara Purushadi Avatar Tanha Shabha Haite Tomara Aishvarya Apara. The direct lords of the living beings are the Purusha incarnations. But your opulence and power are more exalted than theirs. So what are the three Purusha incarnations? Do you remember all of them? Three Vishnus. First one. Yeah. Or Mahavishnu. Same. Next. Garbhodakashaya. Mahavishnu, from whom all the universes emanate, right? From the pores of his skin, the universes are coming out. Next one, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Why is he called Garbhodakashaya? Because he is lying in the ocean, the Garbhodaka ocean. And then Kshirodakashaya. So the first Vishnu, he is the super soul of all the universes, material universes. Or he is the super soul of the whole material world. Like that. And then the next Vishnu is the super soul of one particular universe, just like this universe. And the third Vishnu is the super soul of the living entity inside the heart. So that's like that. So here it is said that Krishna's opulence and power are more exalted than these three Vishnus. And these three Vishnus are also very, very powerful. Any of the Vishnus, but let's take Mahavishnu. He is so big that you can't see him. You can see his color because of the blue sky, but you can't see him. And the Kshirodakashaya Vishnu is so small that you also can't see him. You can take the most powerful, what do you call it? Microscope. Not binoculars. And you can't see him because you can develop a very powerful microscope, but you will never be able to see him. Not just because he is physically small, but because he is not visible to our material eyes. He remains hidden as long as we don't want to see him. There's a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't remember where it is, but it is saying that we have eyes, but we do not see. Pashanti, something with Pashanti. We only see what we are interested in. That's very interesting, this point, because there are many things we can't see if we are not interested, just like Krishna. And interest is the beginning of love. If you're not interested in someone, you cannot love them. And if you want to love someone, first of all, you really need your phones now.
I was taking the verse.
Maybe we can just focus on hearing and chanting. And just forget about the phones.
She's taking notes on her phone. So.
yeah, that's also distracting. Just forget about it. We don't need the phones. I know this is the age of the phone, Kali Yuga, but it's always a distraction. So, at the same point, if you're interested in your phone, that's where you put your attention. If you're interested in Krishna, you will listen. Every time Bhakti Vikas Swami gives class, he is asking, please turn off your phones. So, I don't have that Shakti, but I think it's a good point, because it's like an obsession. It's like an addiction, actually. It's like cigarettes. It's as bad, because it's polluting the consciousness, or not, you can say, it's distracting our attention. And I'm just talking about attention now. Because if we want to love Krishna, we have to give him our attention. And that's the beginning of love. To show Krishna that, yes, I'm interested. I'm giving you my time, a little bit. And some private time where we don't do anything else. That, especially in our japa, that's our private life with Krishna. That's where we can give our full attention, we should give our full attention to the holy name and nothing else. The mind may tell us otherwise, that you have to remember this, or you have to do this service now. You don't have time for chanting or hearing, or so many other things. Let me just check my email. Or what if I forget? Maybe I should write down. The mind is so many ways trying to grab our attention. So what do? Do we say, all right? Or do we become strict with the mind? So if we let the mind wander, then we will not come to a higher level of chanting. Then we will stay on, we'll probably stay on Nama Parad, if we just let the mind wander all the time. So in order to actually to stay on the platform of Nama Bhavs, we have to do this one activity again and again and again. And this is also in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is speaking about, what does he say? My brain is not so good with remembering verses. He says we have to give our full attention, and this is a specific word I'm looking for. I can't remember.
One-pointed?
Not that one. That word actually means practice. And practice, what does practice mean? Practice means you repeat the same thing over and over again, every day. That's practice. And that's what we're doing. We're doing the same things, chanting the same Maha Mantra every day, and going through the same morning program, and so on. This is practice. What are we practicing? We're practicing how to love Krishna. Why do we have to practice? Because we have turned away from Krishna. And now we don't love Krishna, we love other things, like our phone, or whatever. We give our love to everything else but Krishna. So that is our problem. So we have to learn how to love Krishna. And actually we have to force ourselves. We have to force the mind. And that activity that we have to do in order to stay on the platform of Nama Bhavs is to bring the mind back. Bringing the mind back. Krishna says, wherever the mind wanders, bring it back. With the help of the self, you bring it back. Krishna says, I can't remember the Sanskrit. He says, Abhyasa Yoga. Abhyasa Yoga. This means practice. Every time, because you sit down and chant a japa, we know what happens after some time. The mind wanders. And the mind's nature is like that, it's chanchala, fickle. So we have to again and again bring the mind back to the holy name. That's what we have to do in our japa. Bring the mind back. And the mind will complain a lot. And it will also try to convince you that it's you. We have to be sure in our understanding that it's not me. It's only my mind. It will convince you that today is a bad day, and anyway your whole life is maybe not so good. and it's not going well for you, so you have to be depressed now. It's not going well for whatever, for ISKCON or for for the temple. Like that, the mind is constantly giving its propaganda, how you should not be enthusiastic and think about Krishna all the time. So many attacks, actually. We're being attacked by our own mind. That's the worst thing. There was one cartoon from the USA, some comic strip that Ravindra Sarup was quoting, and so some little animal called Pogo, and he said, "We have met the enemy, and he is us." So the real enemy is inside. We are our own enemy, so we have to start by conquering that enemy. That's why it's self-realization. It's first of all, we have to become self-realized. And then we can maybe help others. But first we have to help ourselves. God helps those who help themselves. That is... And then we show Krishna that, yes, I give you some attention, I give you some of my time, and we are actually inviting Krishna, please come, when we are chanting. So when we invite Krishna, we give an invitation, and then he comes, and we are not there. Then, is that very good? We are inviting Krishna, but the mind is somewhere else. We are thinking about something else. We have already invited him, and then he comes. He actually comes. He's knocking on, somebody comes to knock on our door, and we are doing something else. We're distracted. How will that person feel? He will be hurt. Krishna is a person, he has feelings, so we have to be there when Krishna actually comes. Or we can say, at least we also asking for something. It's a prayer. In a prayer, there is a request, and there is a benediction. And we also asking for something. What are we asking? What are we asking Krishna?
To engage us in his service.
Yes. So to be engaged in his service, yeah. So when Krishna actually gives us some service, then we should not be again distracted or saying, "Oh, not that service," or "Not so much, not now." And we should be ready. Okay, I asked for a service. Here is the service. This is the service for you. Krishna says, well, here you go. Now you do it. Then we should be a yes man. Yes, Krishna, I will do it. I'm ready. I'm your servant. Whatever you want. So we are not always like that. So there are different types of servants, the different grades of servants. I think there's like 3 main gradations of servants. The first class servant, he will do the service without being asked. He knows the heart of the master. He doesn't have to get the order. He knows already. Then the second class servant, he does what he's asked to do. He does it favorably. And then the third class, there are 4 classes. The third class, he does it, but in a grudging mood, like, okay, anyway, okay. He does it, but he is not enthusiastic about it. He does like under force, maybe you can say. And then the 4th class, he doesn't do it at all. That's the worst one. You can say he's not even a servant, he's just refusing. So we have to try to come up to the level of the first class servant, at least second class. So another point here, we're hearing about the different Vishnu incarnations and other aspects of Krishna. And in order to love someone, you also have to know them. So we need to know about Krishna before we cannot love someone we don't know, right? It's very common sense. How can you love someone you may have never have met him, but you have to have heard about that person at least. So we may say, oh, I have never met Krishna, but we can hear about him. And we can see him with our ears. We're seeing through the ears by hearing. We have some example of this in the Krishna book, I believe. One of Krishna's future queens had never met him. I don't remember which one. But she had already fallen in love with Krishna, even before meeting him. So that's very interesting.
That's Rukmini.
Is that
She heard from his girl
is that Rukmini?
Yeah. She lived in Kundalina. It's very far from Dhaka. But she had some connection through the process of hearing. I think Narada Muni came to this kingdom and she heard the glories of Krishna and she decided, yeah, I want Krishna to be my husband.
Yeah. So she had so much faith, she didn't even have to meet him. You can say people used to have faith in their parents or other senior persons that they would find the right match for them also. It's another topic. Simply by hearing. So yeah, Rukmini had so much faith in Krishna. She didn't need to even to meet him. So we need to also develop faith. What we hear about Krishna is true. And we can also experience and understand Krishna if we follow the process that has been outlined by our previous acharyas who have all realized Krishna. So we need to have that conviction. Faith leads to realization. It is not that faith is blind and is something just in the mind. It starts maybe theoretically, but it should develop into realization. So maybe you have some questions or comments?
I would like to know if chanting Nam Apara is itself sufficient to elevate a person to the higher form of chanting, or there must be some external input. So something else needs to happen so that the person will stop doing the chanting.
Yeah, yeah. So namaparat means you commit offenses and you don't do anything about it. This is namaparat.
Yes.
So we have to come to the level of at least trying to give up offenses. This is namapas.
Yeah, but
Offenses are still there in namapas, but we should try to give them up. And that trying, we can come to namapas.
yes,
So
so if we chant namaparat and we will not try, we will never reach namapas.
No.
So the chanting namaparat is not powerful enough to change our mind.
And we have to stop committing offenses.
You have to have the desire.
Yeah, we have to follow the process of the 4 regulative principles. We know the 10 offenses also. So we have to get rid of, at least we have to start to give them up. It doesn't mean that you will stop committing offenses all of a sudden. That will happen gradually. At least we can say we stop the gross offenses to start with, like the 4 regulative principles that we should have already done from our initiation. Sometimes it may go back and forth. Normally when you take it initiation, it means now I will follow the regulative principles, but sometimes we see that we might take a step back, but we should at least be trying to give them up. That is in itself what we need to do to advance, and of course there is another factor than our own effort, which is Krishna's mercy, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda's mercy. If we didn't have that mercy, we couldn't do anything. Don't forget that. Sometimes we think that it's all up to us, but that's actually that's a heavy thing to have on our shoulders, isn't it? Everything is up to us. That's sometimes we have these thoughts that we are like we are still thinking we are the doer. I heard one devotee say that we have to let ourselves be chanted. Actually, we can't chant the holy name. We are an instrument, so we have to let ourselves be chanted. I like that. That doesn't mean we don't do anything, but the holy name, Krishna appears when he wants. We have to behave in such a way that Krishna wants to appear on our tongue. So like that. We have to also prepare our heart so that Krishna wants, it's like we have to make the heart like a nice room, nice place where Krishna wants to sit down and stay there. If it's dirty, a big mess, he's not going to come. Just like if you have guests, what do? You clean up, you make something nice to eat, you be sure that you will be there when a guest will come, like that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Anything else? Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. And the offense, which is the seedbed of all other offenses, is inattention. That is the 11th offense, but it's actually the one which makes all the other offenses grow. So that's it's very interesting.